Welcome to the Best 5 Minute Wine Podcast with Forrest Kelly.
So you took all of that experience into, and you kind of, did a jog in your career with diners, drive-ins, and dives. So what do you think was, because in your head, in the embryonic phase of putting that show together and where it turned out, where was the magic sauce?
Well, first of all, let me be clear. I didn't plan the show. I was on the phone pitching an executive at the Food Network, and she kept turning everything down, and she was kind enough to take my calls, but this had been going on for quite a while. I had opened a production company, was trying to make a few bucks. And finally, out of desperation, she said to me, "Yeah, anything about diners?" And I said, "Absolutely. I'm developing this show called Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives." And I told her all about it. And she said, "It sounds good." Now, I had just pulled this out of thin air. So, the whole idea basically germinated in 1/billionth of a second. Now, why did it work? A number of reasons. And one of them is, if you tell the story properly, if you have good content, then what makes or breaks you is the host. And Guy, while he was green as hell and we had to teach him a whole lot, has that natural television ability to pop through the lens. So that's step one. Now, a great talent with bad content ain't going to make, that ain't going to work. The content was honest, it was real, and it was clearly the truth. I held the show to the same standard I held investigative stuff to. If it wasn't a fact, we wouldn't say it. And people had gotten so used to being lied to on reality TV that I think the obvious honesty of the show came as somewhat of a surprise. Additionally, I could go into all sorts of technical stuff about, I'm very proud of the look we gave the show and how quickly we cut it and how we intentionally use jump cuts, but nobody cares about that. That's supposed to be invisible. The one thing we did do was I made sure to include every step of every recipe without making it a dump and stir show. So if you were a deep foodie, you really learned how to make each dish. But if you weren't, this was a show, and we used the music to advance the story segments. From concept to concept, we subconsciously got you there with how we started our music. But it was something that you didn't have to pay attention to. I still think, and I haven't watched the show in years since I left it, but at least in my day, much of our audience didn't really pay attention. It's great white noise. It's something you can put on and have in the background while you're doing something else. I think that was a lot of the appeal. It's like watching Law & Order SVU rerun. You don't have to pay attention. Someone's going to get assaulted. Someone's going to get arrested. The key evidence is going to be thrown out on a technicality, and then they'll still win. I get it. I can look up, I can look down, doesn't matter. One of the things about television or audio forms of mass communication is you're making a promise to the audience. Here's what I'm going to give you. If you give them what you promised, they'll come back. If you don't, they won't.
Yeah.
It depends on what your promise is.
You finished with Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and, fast forward to now. Culinary Characters Unlocked by David Page. How big is your ego?
How big is my ego?
Yeah.
It's pretty substantial. Look, I've been in the business of attracting people to what I produce for 50 years now. So, and I've had some success. So yeah, I have an ego.
Okay.
But I don't think it's out of control.
Yeah.
I have a very healthy, I like what I do. I think I do it very well. That doesn't mean I don't sometimes screw up. It doesn't mean I haven't had massive failures. But in a very limited spectrum, and feel free to use this, in a very limited spectrum, I can step back and look at what I do and say, I'm damn good at that. Look, I've been interviewing people for 55 years now. Someone told me the other day that I do a good interview. Well, if I haven't figured it out by now, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. So you're bringing all of that, ego and all that pride and everything to Culinary Characters Unlocked. What is the basis of the show? I mean, you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but you're doing chefs, restaurateurs, personalities.
It's mostly chefs and restaurateurs. For some reason this week I did a couple of bartenders, but to a great extent they're like chefs. I just find people in the world of food to be fascinating. They're deeply passionate about what they do. They have skills that I don't have. I mean, I'm a real good home cook. I could never be a chef because I don't have that magic yet.
The best 5-minute one podcast.
Don't forget my favorite part.
Please like and follow.